Hi everyone. We are going to discuss this question today that we posted yesterday on our Telegram channel. If you want to join our Telegram channel, you can just click on the description below and you will find the invite link. So whether you're using through a desktop Telegram app or a mobile app, you can directly connect through that link and we keep on posting these questions every day. We won't post video solutions every day. Today, I'm going to do that because this is an interesting question on special equations or linear equations or whatever type you want to name this, uh, which has some discussions. I mean, wherein I can discuss a few variations and things that you should be knowing or understanding more importantly when you face questions like these. Without further delay, let me get into the problem. So, few things to take note of in this problem. So, we are looking for integer solutions, but that is the first note. We are looking for integer solutions, not positive integer solutions. So, a and b could be negative. Another thing is the question says mod of a square minus b square equal to 120. I hope you can read that. It's written in modulus form. So you have mod of a square minus b square equal to 120, and we're looking for integer solutions of a and b. But the way we are going to approach this problem would be scaling up from a basic understanding. So the basic understanding would be finding positive integer solutions for the equation a square minus b square is equal to 120. So I made a couple of changes to the question. One, I have converted the integer solution to positive integer solution. That is my focus. And the second is the modulus part. Now, before I get into that, let me explain why am I thinking in this way. The first thing that comes to my mind is if I can find positive integer solutions for a square minus b square equal to 120, then correspondingly I can find how many cases will be there for negative and so on. For instance, let me give an example straight away. So suppose I consider a as 11 and b as 1. This is just a random example. Don't try to understand how I came to this solution. It's not that relevant. So if I consider a as 11 and b as 1, so this is a positive integer solution acceptable for this question, right? But if I think about integer solution, for this particular solution, I will have four different variations. One is this itself. Another is A11, B as minus 1. So this is another variation, which is acceptable because B being 1 or minus 1, B square doesn't make any change. A is equal to minus 11, B is equal to 1. Same logic. This will be another acceptable variation, and a is equal to minus 11 and b is equal to minus 1. So I hope you get the point that I wanted to make without even looking at this particular example, and that is for a particular value of particular positive value of a and b, for each of the cases I'll have plus minus option for A and plus minus option for B. So this will be corresponding options. If you understand a bit of PNC, you should straight away understand for each case of both being positive, you will have 2 into 2, 4 cases for positive or negative of A and B. So that is one thing. The reason I converted this question to something like this. The other thing is this should be pretty obvious. So if I have a certain number of solutions for a square minus b square equal to 120, I will have the same number of solutions for b square minus a square equal to 120, right? I mean, this is pretty obvious to understand. Uh, I can take the same example. So if I consider a square minus b square equal to 120, a equal to 11 and b equal to 1 is a solution. Similarly, if I consider b square minus a square equal to 120, in this case, b equal to 11 and a equal to 1 will be a solution, right? So for each solution here, there will be one solution here. So both will have equal number of solutions. So this is the point that I wanted to make earlier. If I can figure out the number of solutions of this, then I can scale it up to find the number of solutions of the original question. So that is the first reasoning that should come to your mind. Now, coming to this particular problem, so this is a very special type. I mean, you might have experienced something like this, but as we already always focus on is never mug up or by heart processor or approaches, never formulas, of course. So it's more of understand those things, and if once you have experienced that kind of approach or that kind of problem in various problems that you have tried, there will be a point of time when you will automatically remember it. You don't have to try and remember it. So never try and remember an approach, rather understand whatever you're trying to apply. So let us get into this without further delay. So you have a square minus b square equal to 120. The first thing that should come to your mind is something like this. We can break this up or factorize this into a plus b into a minus b equal to 120. Now, there is something which is very common in these kind of problems. Whenever you're multiplying you have two factors and both factors have the same type of variables involved. So that common thing, I mean, this idea can be used in a lot of different problems. That is to check the odd even parity. So that what I mean by that is, suppose I consider a and b both to be odd. So in this case, a plus b will be odd plus odd even, and a minus b odd minus odd also even, right? If I consider a and b both to be even, again a plus b is even, as well as a minus b is even, right? So I hope you can see that a plus b and a minus b both are even simultaneously. Even if a and b, one is odd, it doesn't matter which one, and the other one is even, you can check the other way around yourself. So you have odd plus even odd, as well as odd minus even odd, right? So I mean, this is definitely happening symmetrically, right? So whatever is a plus b in terms of even odd, a minus b is the same thing. There's a simpler way to actually judge this. You can check the difference of a plus b and a minus b, that is 2b. So that should tell you something, but I'm not going to that as of now. So the important part to understand is this a plus b and the a minus b, these two factors will be both even or both odd simultaneously. Now, if that is true, in this particular case, when we have the product of these two as 120, both cannot be odd, right? That is pretty obvious. So what it automatically means is they should be simultaneously even. Now, how to handle these cases? So whenever you have both of these even, what you can do is you can further on take more variables to understand this. Or what you can directly do is something like this. See, 120 already has some factors of 2 in it, isn't it? So what we will do is we'll transfer a factor of 2 here, and we'll transfer a factor of 2 here. So what I'm essentially doing is a plus b is 2 into something. You can represent this as some variable, and a minus b is also 2 into something. Okay, so now these two blocks, whatever it is after this, so once this transfer has happened, whatever appears in this block and this block, it doesn't matter. A plus b will always be even, as well as a minus b will always be even, right? This is pretty obvious. Now, we also need to understand what happens to 120 after the transfer has happened. So once we have transferred a couple of 2's, so couple of factors of 2 into a plus b and a minus b, one of them in each. So we are left with 30 to be distributed, right? So you simply divide 120 by 4 because you've taken 2 and 2 to a plus b and a minus b. So you're left with 30 to be distributed. Now, how to distribute it? So there are a lot of ways. You can just brute force assign all the possible solutions. There will be not too many cases in this particular problem. You have a small number to distribute. But let us also constructively understand that part. Now, coming back to the variation that we are discussing now, so that is the positive integer solutions, right? So more importantly, because a and b have to be positive, so more importantly, the b is positive. Now, if the b is positive, you should be able to identify that the a plus b will always be greater than a minus b, right? To the same value a, in one side we are adding b, on the other side we are subtracting b. So obviously, if b is positive, then a plus b has to be greater than a minus b. So now what we know is whatever factor we distribute to a plus b must be greater than what we distribute to a minus b. for instance, if I distribute 30 as 6 into 5, then the 6 must go to a plus b and the 5 must go to a minus b. Now, if you have a basic understanding of factors, then you will be able to understand this very quickly. If not, then try to understand what is happening here. See, whenever you distribute 30 as product of two factors, factors will always exist in pairs. It has to happen. That is one very interesting property of factors. You can, in this case, you can brute force do this. But if you check, the higher factor will always take up the position of a plus b. So here, and the lower factor will always take up this position. So for example, if you distribute it as 30 into 1, so the 30 will go here and the 1 will go here, right? So essentially what is happening is you have all the factors of 30, half of that can occupy this position, isn't it? So basically what we can conclude is the number of solutions for this particular example will be number of factors of 30. So this is plural, half of that, because half of that can occupy a plus b, and a minus b is automatically forming, so we don't care about that. Or you can take a minus b as the precedence, but whatever it is. So you have always half the number of factors of 30 occupying one of the positions, right? So this will give us the number of solutions for positive integer solutions, a square minus b square equal to 120. So the version that I discussed. Now, before we get into the expansion of, or scaling up of that into the actual answer, let me first quickly calculate this. I hope you know how to figure out number of factors. So 30 is 2 to the power 1 into 3 to the power 1 into 5 to the power 1. So any factor of 30 can have either 2 to the power 0 or 2 to the power 1 in it. So two options for this, two options for this, two options for this. You multiply the options, you get 8 factors of 30. So because it has 8 factors of 30, the number of positive integer solutions for this a square minus b square equal to 120 will be half of 8. So that is 4. So now that we have understood this, let us understand how to scale it up. We have to some extent already understood it, but let me elaborate that part a little bit more. So let me get into that equation first of all. All right. Now, first I will ignore the positive integer part. So I'll convert it to integer solution. So in order to do that, I have to take the cases of negative values also. So what I mean by that is, for any particular m and n solution for a and b, so I took an example of 11 and 1 if you remember, I can have a plus minus m or a plus minus n. It doesn't matter, because for a square and b square, all that matters is the magnitude. It will always be a positive value, right? Irrespective of the sign of a and b. So for each solution here, you have correspondingly 4 solutions here. So if I convert this question to integer solutions instead of positive integer solutions, the number of solutions in total will be 4 into 4. So that is 16. So for each of the cases, you have 4 solutions now. And finally, if I just put a mod to this, so if you remember, as many solutions I'll have for a square minus b square equal to 120, that many solutions I'll have for b square minus a square equal to 120. So the number of solutions here, I have equally that many solutions here. So basically the number of solutions are doubling. So essentially, if I just put a mod here, simply put a mod here, then the number of solutions will be doubled. So effectively the answer for this problem is 4 into 4 into 2. So that is 32. So this is the answer to this problem. I hope that was understood. I would like to discuss an interesting question on this same idea. So let me get into that. I'll just write this out. So suppose the question says, for how many integer values of a and b we have a square minus b square equal to 62. Now, again, we are looking for integer solutions and everything, but understand the basic again. So we have a plus b into a minus b equal to 62. Now we have already understood that this a plus b and a minus b have to be simultaneously odd or simultaneously even, right? So if that is true, then we cannot have odd into odd equal to 62. So that is obviously understood, right? You will understand that intuitively. The only thing possible here is even into even, right? So both are even. But if it is even into even, the product has to be a multiple of 4, isn't it? We get a factor of 2 from this as well as a factor of 2 from this, whatever else we have. So we have to have something which is a multiple of 4, isn't it? Now 62 is not. So if 62 is not an integer, I mean 62 is not a multiple of 4, essentially we cannot have integer solutions of A and B. Please understand that part. It's not that we are never going to have solutions for A and B, but we are not going to have integer solutions for A and B. For instance, I can very well break this A plus B into A minus B as 31 into 2. There is no problem in that as far as, I mean, values are concerned. So if A plus B is 31, and a minus b is 2, you can check it out yourself. You can just add the two. You'll find that a is coming out to be 16.5, and then b will automatically come out to be 14.5. So in that situation, what you can see is these are not integer solutions, right? So effectively we are going to have solutions, but we're never going to have integer solutions as long as this part is even but not a multiple of 4. What I mean by that is, suppose I change this to something like 61 instead of 62. Now this is not a multiple of 4, but the important part is this is an odd number, not an even number, right? So what changes then? So if I have this as 61, now I hope you can see this. I don't even have to break this. I can't even break this because it's a prime number. But the point is, I don't even have to break this. I can just simply represent this as 61 into 1. In that case, a plus b is 61 and a minus b is 1, right? And we are getting a as 31 and b as 30. So this is definitely giving me a solution. 31 square minus 30 square is actually 61. Now, another thing to point out, I have discussed this earlier. So you have this a plus b and a minus b as integer in this case. Sorry, a and b as integer in this case. Suppose I change this question to positive integer. So this is the last part that I'm going to discuss, and I'm going to leave you guys with a question for you to try yourself. So if I have positive integer values of a and b, suppose, and we are looking for, we're just discussing two special cases. So one is a square minus b square equal to 1, and a square minus b square is equal to 4. Now, these two values is not having those problems, right, that we discussed. So one thing that we discussed is if it is 61, that is an odd number, it is not going to have a problem, right? We can always break it down into odd. So no issues there. And if it is going to be a multiple of 4, so if this would have been 64, in that case, I can obviously break this down as 32 into 2. So again, I can break it as even into even. So that is not even a problem, right? But these are two special cases that I want to discuss. You'll understand why. Now you check this out. I mean, a square minus b square is 1. So a plus b into a minus b is 1, right? The only way I can break this out is 1 into 1 because it's 1, right? But if a plus b is 1 and a minus b is 1, then the problem is b is equal to 0, which is not a positive integer. So this, although this is just an odd number, it's not having any solution of positive integer, values of a and b. Again, similarly, in this case, you can see that this value is a multiple of 4, right? So a plus b into a minus b is equal to 4 implies the only way we can break, please understand, we cannot break it as 4 into 1. We have already understood this today. So this cannot be even and this cannot be odd. We are not going to have a and b as integers in that case. But we can definitely break this as 2 into 2. So if I break this as 2 into 2, again we have the same problem. B is equal to 0, right? A plus b is 2, a minus b is equal to 2. So b has to be 0, right? You can solve that. The same problem arises. So again, you don't have a positive integer. So keep this in mind. If I'm looking for positive integer values of a and b, there are two special cases. So first of all, to conclude everything that we discussed as of now, if you have a square minus b square is equal to n, something like this, if n is a multiple of 4, usually you will not have a problem for integer solutions. You will never have problem for integer solutions. Or if it is an odd number, you will never have a problem. So the problems happen with those even numbers which are not multiples of 4. The exceptional case is when we have positive integer solutions. This is a multiple of 4 but cannot be equal to 4. In that case, the b will never be a positive integer, it will be 0. Similarly, it can have odd number but it cannot be 1. That is to say, when it is a multiple of 4, it cannot be the lowest multiple of 4, and when it is an odd number, it cannot be the lowest possible odd number. So these are two special cases I wanted to discuss, because as I promised, I'm going to leave you guys with one question for you to try later on. And the question is, for how many positive integer values of n less than or equal to 100? So n must be less than or equal to 100 and positive integers. I'm explaining this a bit. So n could be 1 to 100, right? So for how many positive integer values of n can we express n as a square minus b square in at least one way, where a and b are also positive integer? So I hope you can give this a shot. Try this in whichever way you want to, either just brute force figure it out, or the things that we discussed today, you can use that. It will be very fast if you can understand and apply that. And you can just leave your answers or any query that you have in the comments. If you like the video, do like it, share it, and also don't forget to subscribe. Click the bell icon. You'll always get notification as soon as we upload a video. So thank you and have a great time ahead. All the best with your preparation. Thank you all.